I remember my first time ever performing one of my poems in front of a group of people. It was actually just last year, and it was for a event called Lyrical Odyssey that some fraternity was hosting. I've always written poetry for as long as I can remember. I remember my first poem was inspired by a Dr. Seuss book, and ever since then you couldn't take a pen out of my hand. Well, as much as I loved poetry, I never had been brave enough to share it with people. It was something that was really personal to me, and I was just afraid. So my friend, he approached me, and he had kind of read some of my stuff. He's one of the lucky few that I let read it. And when he did, he really, he kept pushing me. You should do this, you should do it, you're really good. And I kept telling him no. I did everything I could to say, that's not good. Everybody else's poems are way better than mine. But finally, somehow, one way or another, he convinced me. And so the day comes, and I'm nervous. All day, I couldn't eat. I couldn't focus in class. I was just a ball of nerves. And finally, 7 o'clock rolls around, and it's time for the show. Well, I'm sitting there in the audience waiting for my turn, and finally, after 5 people go and they do really well, and some even get standing ovations, all of a sudden they call my name to stage. And so I get up there, and my hands are literally shaking, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, Alyssa, you can do this. Everybody else did it, you'll be fine. So I grab the mic, and I look into the crowd, and I say the first line, and my heart just stops. It just stops, I felt like. And it was like everything just paused. Time just stopped. And I forgot the words. I couldn't say the next line for the life of me until finally my friend in the audience, he was like, "You got it, Alyssa," and he started clapping, and the audience, being nice, they started clapping for me too and cheering me on, trying to give me encouragement. So finally, after that, somehow I took a deep breath, mustered up the courage, and I started over. And when I did, I got through the poem, and not only did I get through the poem, I actually did it with conviction, and it went perfectly, like the way I always imagined it would be. And I was very proud of myself for doing that. And if it hadn't been for my friend convincing me to do it, who knows how long it would have been, or if I would have ever performed any of my poetry for people. It was a scary experience, definitely one of the most nerve-wracking firsts that I've ever had, but I'm glad I went through with it, and it taught me a lot about myself, and it definitely showed me that I do have the courage, and it motivated me to keep on writing and keep going, and since then I've actually performed a few more times, so I'm glad for that experience.